Alright, we're back. Hopefully it doesn't crash again. So I need to take out 10 cards. 8 points a turn is kind of the standard. Let's see. This one, 3, 2, 1. That's 6, 7, 8. So that's 8. Seagull plays for more. This one. Potentially gets into removal range. How much are the purifies actually worth? I think we just take out Peller and Crow's Eye now that I'm thinking about it. Because well, maybe we keep Peller and we definitely take Crow's Eye out though. Great. Maybe we'll just go for a variety of like 1-point engines. Is there more at 6 that I could go for? Messenger of the Sea probably would be more powerful, but I don't have anything to spawn Rain on the Rose right now. So plays for 6, 7, 8. The Demon Smuggler's still pretty good. This one gives me engine removal. Out. Spores. I guess the only way my own units are going to take damage is with a... Yeah, the Bloodthirst is better. You know, we actually probably take the... Oh, you know what though? This... Where's it? The Haymade Protector. When an adjacent unit takes damage, boosts up by 1. I could actually make this a stronger engine than the On-Crate Warcrier. Because I can have 2 engines taking damage. Actually, no, I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, Raging Bear is damage an allied unit by 2. Okay, I see. But it works for that Armored Drakkar, I guess. Almost feel like I have to get greedy on this. I think this is gonna be, yeah, it's kind of crucial. Spellbook Priest, Marjoram. Yeah, let's get the Hamate Protector out. I don't think we're gonna be able to. I mean, I could potentially get more out of it if I get the Bear Witcher Quartermaster and then start hitting some of my units with Seagull. Which actually we're gonna want to make sure we proc it, so maybe. But it has to actually take damage. Well, that's actually fine. Bloodthirst will probably work good. Technically the Mardromes aren't, even if they hit 2, they're still only getting 7, so they're actually, yeah, they're actually not that good here. Well, they're good in a short round, I guess. This deck is pretty, there's a lot of cards in it. A lot more cards than I want, but you know what? I don't have any more time to waste. We're just going to play it as is. So, we'll just call it Seagull Bronze Shenanigans. I can't spell. I think that's how you spell it. Yeah, good enough. If I were to take 5 more out, though, I think we want to increase what Seagull's going to do. We need to keep these guys in, which means we need to keep the armored Drakars. This allows me to actually get stuff more within kill range, though. The Demon Pirate kind of works as a thin, though, which is nice. I'm starting to think I do want to thin this down a bit. And we're going to want Crystal Skull, I think, because we have a bunch of, like, the engines are our only chance. So we're going to need to... Oh, it's because it's bronze only. Oh, these are gold cards, so... Oh, I don't think... Okay, this must not count towards it then. Because you can't go with no stratagem, and this is still... So... Oh, we're just gonna play it with that. It's not... really, I should play it, or I should, I should get it as thin as possible so we can always get Seagull. Because Seagull's with... You know what? I know this is the case. So, let's get rid of some stuff. I got enough engines that can pop off pretty big, so let's get rid of... Let me just get rid of the on-crate warriors. And need ways to kill things. I'll do another stunning blow. For his blessing. What's the weak link here? Dim and Pirate Axe is a thin, but it's not a great thing. Oh, but I got the Freya's Blessing, so this is actually okay. So maybe I need some stuff that's kind of point slammy. So Raging Bear is okay. Maybe we get rid of the Bear Witcher Quartermaster. Because we got the leader charge, so we needed to use him on something. So I think we get rid of that. And I should put the Bone Talisman in, though. Ah! We're just gonna play it as is. Okay. Play with her. Play with then card back. We'll play with our winter card back. That's all at the top, isn't it? Yes, it is. Alright, here we go! Well, part of me says I shouldn't do this in ranked, but I want to see how this actually goes. So before we do that, here is... that's the final standing right there for the season. Leaderboards. There's the win rate. So 84 to 72 to 2. Highest fastest number. Alright, here we go. Bronze only. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. So we'll do this, we'll submit balance council vote, and that's the end of the stream.
I'll do what I can.
They're probably gonna be like, what is this? Okay, we want that. We got Seagull. We don't have any votes. No idea what they're getting into. And the self wound is going to be utterly useless during this round. Megascope's going to suck. We are literally just going to have.
By denying penance, you confirm your guilt.
Only Seagull said spawn on a random row. That would actually kind of work. I guess we. Good thing they're playing kind of a fire swarm type deck.
This positively reeks of heresy.
Basically destroy token this row. I don't know if that's the one we do. I was thinking about resetting this guy's power, but that's kind of a lame spores.
Many of ours have died of late. That one! He venerates not the fire!
Yeah, no, we gotta kill this though. So good. We're actually doing pretty good. The Seagull play, the first Seagull play might actually win us around. Dude, if I actually win with this, that puts the whole like back and forth over the last 2 days like into context, like that it was just
the eternal fire guides! The eternal fire protects! Last quill.
We can replay this so many times, but this is kind of unfortunate. I think I'm gonna have to play first.
What do you think, dearest? It matches your eyes.
By denying penance, you confirm your guilt! You, yes, you! Have you made your offering?
They might do it again, so that's gonna be the best reset I think they did. One of the two, they're both about the same. Right now, I'm already gonna fill up the row, so it kind of sucks. But it is what it is. They actually just leave them in the graveyard though, so it may actually be a carryover. No, let's spawned all of them. That's hilarious, dude. Alright, we got one go at this. We might actually be able to win it the next turn based off of the engines. Excommunicado.
To aid the downtrodden, any in need, is our solemn duty.
So good at total power. I think it's immune though, so. Alright, we definitely played this. 56 is pretty good. We might just pass there instead of doing a reset. Because if we do the reset, we go a card down, and I think card advantage is going to be really crucial to us here. Okay, there we go, they passed. If we get stuck, if we get on-crate greatsword and megascope though, we're chilling. And we'll actually just probably push for a 2-0. Okay, megascope. Yes, dude. Actually, veteran's gonna be, it's gonna be even better. But it's only 1 point, so. What else could I draw? Actually a lot of good opportunities, so that's not gonna be good. Okay, this actually, I have to play 2 of them from hand, and we're not gonna get enough damage this way. Do I pass? Or do I... Yeah, they're not going to heal up enough, unfortunately. And I need something to sink my leader charges into.
We place our trust in you, eternal flame!
Hey, we're on even here, so this is pretty amazing. Okay, we definitely. Unfortunately, I don't have enough damage on enemy units here. I really needed this. I think.
Sacred fire, guide my sword!
Unfortunately, nothing's going to come out at once. I think Seagull is bricked. Actually, I could kill... Hold on here.
Mayhap you'll
We'll
gawk
try
at
this.
Arcania's marvels too one day.
Whew. I don't know. This might be winnable. I would have needed 2 mega scopes though. Well, I already used my other mega scope, unfortunately. For this.
Infernal gout! That one! He venerates not the fire!
Oh, heck yeah. I think we figured it out. Yes, we can kill our own Seagull. This is good.
Fill our hearts with wrath!
This is really good. Is this winnable?
Halt! In the Order's name,
Seagull.
I confiscate these goods.
I don't have any. I played all the Seagulls already, though.
Abandon your false guns! Elf, remove his cowl, then his ears! I once lopped off 3 heads with 1 blow.
Fortunately, the spores so far is looking like it might not. I don't know if they have any boost type things. It might not go very tall. But this is actually looking winnable. That's the crazy part.
By denying penance, you confirm your guilt!
Blessed light so fine, you shall forever shine.
And we're gonna have last say, so I think we make the on-crate great sword come out at the very end.
Come at me if you must. Don't think this sword a toy.
Set a timer, so I place it. Timer 1. So I play it as the second to last card, I believe.
Yes, you! Have you made your offering?
I don't know that this is going to be enough, but we'll see.
That one! He venerates not the fire!
Should probably take. Should probably take the Seagull kill first. Just to be sure. Wait, what? Dude. When an enemy unit is destroyed. Oh shit, I guess I shouldn't have killed my Seagull. So I wasted 2 points then. Well, actually, I took away 2 of my points, and so it's actually 3 points. I messed up by 3 points. So this Seagull's only playing for 8.
You are worthy neither of mercy nor forgiveness.
It might make a difference. Oh, there's an immunity? The fact that they're putting one with immunity kind of sucks, but...
Give us all you got!
Might be enough, though. So then we play Mega Scope.
As a girl, I always dreamed of having drapes like
They're
these.
spreading... Yeah, they're spreading out their...
You, yes, you! Have you made your offering?
I don't think we win, but it actually is going to be pretty close. Actually, you know what? We might. Especially if this matches up correctly.
Idle hands are evil's playthings.
There's Berserk 3, it heals self.
The amulet. Think it'll save you?
Probably
By
take the
denying
damage down.
penance, you confirm your guilt!
Okay, there we go. Never mind, it's too big. That's a lot. Definitely. Yeah, we don't have enough, unfortunately, but... If they were down at like 80 points or something... In fact, this actually, now that I'm looking at this, is basically just a slightly modified version of the base, the starting Firesworn deck.
Smash your noggin, Ruts!
You, yes, you! Have you made your offering?
That would have been nice, but okay, so I'm always gonna get more value from this area. Unfortunately, I'm off by 1. That kind of sucks. Actually, that's a 4. Yeah. It's definitely going to be our best reset.
I once lopped off 3 heads with one
69, though. That's pretty good for a smart tank. That's not bad. If you add my points together, it's still not like as high as theirs, but be 70 and 55. So, man, my brain is not working very well right now. 7, 55, so it's 25. So it's 125, right? Yeah, 125. And then they got like 142, well, then plus 4. So 146. They were up by 21 points on me in terms of total value throughout the round. But all it takes is them to get a bad draw or like a misplay, and we could win with Seagull. Alright, so I'm thinking that I think we could try this one more time. I'm thinking we take out a Corsair, maybe. I just think we don't really want to go for a short round, so we probably take out a Marjoram. The Terseat's get lots of value out of it. That's still good. Let's take out one of the Corsairs. I think maybe we just take out both Marjorams. Demon Pirate acts as the blind thin. Takes 4 turns for these to get the value that we like, for them to pay off. Compared to something like this, because these are like the point slam type cards. That allows me to get the Seagull out though, so purify unit. Just in case they have Defender, I guess. It's hard to find areas to cut. I only need to cut 2 though. Stunning blows we obviously save for engines and stuff, so as long as we're denying them like 8 points or so, it's good. So like 8 points seems to be the magic number. I just need 2 rounds of the same thing that we happened the first time. I just play a Seagull, then drop 2 of those, then get one of the boost things on top of a few other cards, and then they pass, and then we do the same thing again. We just get, you know, the 2 Seagull, or we have 1 Seagull in hand, and then 2 Freya's Blessings, and another Bone Talisman, and then whatever else is there, or we have on-crate Great, well, and hopefully we also have an on-crate Great Sword and both Mega Scopes or something like that, you know? Peller's not exactly... I could purify the Seagull if I have it, but then that's kind of an underwhelming play. So we only get the 1. I'm gonna take a Peller. think the one card's gonna make that much more difference. If I can get the Demon Corsair and the Armored Drakkar together, that would be really nice. There's actually quite a few ways that we could win around if we get the right combination of engines out. For like a Megascope and like the Veterans out. Like that last round, if I would have had a boat, if I could have had a boat out there, I don't know. A bit tricky. We're gonna go with that. I could have thinned my deck down one more, but we're just gonna play with this one more time, and then we will do the Balance Council. Is Self-Wound really the way to go? I'm really relying on myself getting those Armored Drakkars. In the long run, I think it's better value because
Ni me ora tirarme. È true.
the Seagulls will spawn. Okay, that's good, good. 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 We just go like super heavy control, I guess. Actually, I probably should have taken that round one. Save that for a late round if we retry. Save the ship.
My name? I don't recall.
None shall tread on us!
It's already off to a kind of bad start, but we do want to get the engine value going as soon as we can.
Seen it all already. And then some.
Special prize, just for you, love.
One of these removals. I want to put. Actually, this one gets us an extra point.
They're up our lines!
Juiciest leaks in town, get him here.
Okay, hear me out. We need to. That's going to be a lot of value if we don't kill it. So I need to put Seagull down for one less, I think. There's so much carryover. I hope they don't boost it up again. Probably know what I'm doing now. Please don't boost him. If they boost him, it sucks.
Never had your kneecap broken!
Okay. So either way, he gets healed up. So the Popco, unfortunately, they used a leader charge, didn't. That's bad. Alrighty, well.
Some things cannot be forgiven.
They're ahead, I mean. Too much for the pass. This is actually one of the worst decks for me to go up against with this, because this is basically taking a bronze-only deck versus one of the highest point ceiling type of decks in the game, other than maybe some crazy meme decks. In terms of a competitive deck, this is like one of the top for sure. One of those back. Scope is good. I think we try to hold Seagull. Play that on melee. Try to get the bloodthirst.
One arrow. That is all I need.
That's gonna. I think we use Mega Scope on it then. I was gonna say this, but that's not. That's gonna die for sure. And then we'll only get 1 point per turn. Oh, I don't remember what that was at. Was it boosted that high already? I think it was. Damn, this kind of sucks. Eight. It's only gonna be 9 points. This is kind of bad. Actually, this would be fine because it's gonna spawn maybe 8. Yeah. So I think we just play this here because the long round. It sucks though that we're not getting. Well, we might get a long ship. I don't know that we have the right combination though. Okay, Seagull, that's not bad. They might go pretty high with the boost. This is very flexible, so that's great. Something theirs needs to die for Seagull to work, so. Best we get.
Was it so plowing crummy in Nilfgaard?
quiet. Seagull's getting no value.
Gods are blowing fair winds the day.
Actually. Yeah. Makes me wonder how much is. We're not gonna have bloodthirst. You know what?
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
Should have put the. Yeah, probably just put that. This might be one. Okay, this one's done once. What is this? Harmony?
Not supposed to be any smoke.
One seagull, so one.
Yeah, I worked for the Police. Better than working for humans.
Pretty good here. Oh, you know what? Please don't poison it. We need this one. I'm reading it. Yeah, they're gonna finish the poison. Darn it!
Leave while you still
I
stand.
just messed that up. That was gonna be big. That's really bad. I might have actually had a chance if that survived. If I could have played that. Have to get this, so. Only one? What? Whenever an enemy takes damage, so it's only per instance of damage. Damn. Yeah, they definitely won. They're easily gonna get over 100 points this round. Come on, hit this. I think it's gonna. Yeah, they all kind of suck. Nothing's gonna die though, for sure. So
Ken Karecha Kased Ganem.
I guess we try to get an extra one there.
crate!
Dude, if that Corsair stuck, or what was it? Maybe it's not called Corsair. Demon Corsair. Well, I kept calling the other one. Oh yeah, Demon Corsair is the range Corsair as well. If that stuck, and they didn't have Defender, we probably would have actually won, because I would have had this whole row would just be like. We would have been able to kill something. This whole row would just be swarmed with Seagulls, and we would do a massive boost at the end. Actually, they might kill the chameleon. I think that's a thing that can happen. Kill it. They summon Seagull. Please do it. Please.
No mercy!
Kill. Oh, does it? Oh yes! Wait, what? Only. Oh, that's right, because it's Defender. See how many more we would have had. 1, 2.
I'm no mere huntress. I'm a predator.
That would have only been 12. Yeah. It still probably wouldn't have been enough even with the Corsair. But it would have been a little more competitive. That's fun though. It's actually fun kind of playing the Seagull one. I don't know if there's anything better. Maybe like I might have to just play like a neutral deck, but yeah. Alright, I might dick around with this tomorrow a little bit, but let's go. Before I end this stream, we'll submit the Balance Council stuff. I got Contract Conqueror. Play 500 games in any online mode. That was a 500th game. Nice. Didn't complete many challenges here. This is gonna end, actually, now that I think about it, this is gonna end in, wait, February season, 11 hours left? What? So it's ending at like noon or something like that? I don't know, it seems like it ends at a different time each season. We're gonna miss out on 3 levels here, so yeah, it still won't be enough. So we don't really miss out on any any rewards. I spent all the ore before this, but you can actually get new ones if you use ore. I kept forgetting to do that throughout the season, but I probably wouldn't have, but it wasn't until like a few days ago that I actually was like, oh, that's right, I could actually do that if I didn't want to play as often. I just wanted to hasten my progress towards the card back. So we're actually going to open some crates first, I think. Actually, which one was I getting? Whether it was here, maybe. I forget which one I was making progress on. Kegs. It's 2. That's okay. If If I could get a 350 somewhere, that gets me 3 kegs. So with that. Alright, 6 keys left. What else do we unlock? 2, 3. Yeah, that's pretty good for only 2. Yeah, that's good. I don't know if this is the most economical, but 50 more ores not going to do anything, so. Alright, let's see. What keg do we open? I think we're needing cars, like neutral is definitely the lowest, as a percentage, that is. I don't really care about syndicate, so of these ones, it's actually kind of even, except for Nilfgaard we're lagging behind on. We'll only get 4 right, so we'll do a Nilfgaard and Northern Realms and 2 Ultimates. Or did I say 2 Northern Realms? Nilfgaard 8, 1. Maybe that is what I said. Oh, this is the last chance to get these kegs, but I think it's fine not getting them. Alright, we got 9 kegs to open. Let's start with Skellige. We got another Seagull. I just have to check. Hey, yo, we got an F. I just have to check to make sure that if there's ones like I got duplicates of like these, I gotta make sure none of them are premium.
Brazies! Mash butts!
Come on. I opened kegs last night. I did it in a video that I recorded, which it's one of them that may get posted to YouTube at some time. But this one was, I got 3 legendaries in a row. I was like, that's pretty crazy. It is that contraption. It reminds me of the album cover to a old band from the 80s called Kick Axe. They had an album called Vices. I actually just heard of them like somewhat recently, like within the last 6 months or so. And I haven't listened to that whole album, but I was listening to it just the other day a little bit. And it's actually, they're pretty good. They definitely didn't get very popular, but. So profit 4 while in graveyard, damage enemy unit by 1. Oh, I've seen this one. Whenever you place a bounty on it, so this is a good one for a bounty deck. Great 4 provision card.
One bang smash! Battle now is trash!
And they're all ones we already have already. Damn.
Hurt 'em! Hurt 'em! Ta-da!
Okay, one more. Please be safe. We got one of the premiums.
Happy Peg!
Thank goodness. Ooh, this is actually a good card right here. It's like pretty much, I've noticed this is one of the card archetypes that every faction has one of, pretty much. So, like, Dunka is the one for Scoia'tael. The Apiarian Phantom is the one for monsters. She's the one for Skellige. They all work a little bit differently, but they all are 5 points to begin with 1 armor. They have Veil, they have a Zeal order, which is melee split. So they're all variations. Like Dunkas is you can damage an enemy unit by 3. The Apiarian Phantom might be the same too, but this one split 3 damage randomly between enemy units in a row. This one actually for Skellige is, generally speaking, this is actually preferred because it could potentially trigger like Bloodthirst 3 in one use of the order. But there are times when it might not be as good as just 3 straight damage, so it's a bit of a trade-off for sure. At the end of your turn, if the order is not used, damage a random enemy unit by 1. So this one, it actually damages the random enemy unit by 1 for, you know, purposes of like kind of playing control and also triggering Bloodthirst, instead of the monster and Scoia'tael ones, which boost the Scoia'tael one boosts the unit in your hand by 1. The monster one boosts self by 1 if the order is not used. In fact, in Northern Realms, the one, I think it actually starts lower at like base power 3, but it's the guy, he's like sitting in a chair or whatever, I forget what it's called. I don't know what the Syndicate equivalent is. I'm not sure what the Nilfgaard one is either, but I'm pretty sure they all have one. So 100% we can
Crack!
last
Goody!
yeah, nothing. Alright,
Secret!
I'm actually kind of curious. Let's take a look. So, let's see, faction. So, Iberian Phantom. So actually this one starts out at 4. It's probably just because they've gotten buffed or nerfed and stuff, but when the game, you know, released, or when these cards released, they probably started them all out at the same. So melee damage to enemy unit by 3 at the end of your turn if the order is not used, boost self by 1. So it's the same as Dunka, except for it's 1 power less and it boosts self by 1. Whereas the Dunka, I actually almost think I would prefer the Dunka, to be honest. Because the Dunka, she's damage enemy by 3 at the end of your turn. Boost random non-neutral unit in your hand by 1. It gives you the option of either keeping it, for one, it doesn't play into tall punish as much. I mean, it does mean you have to play more cards potentially, and it's just not an engine that's contributing. But if you are playing cards out with boost, you know, you can kind of decide. So I think this is better than Apiarian Phantom. Except for the fact that I suppose Apiarian Phantom could be used as a 1-point return engine to kind of be as an early game play, and then also have this option to use melee, you know. But then it can also lead towards triggering Sabbath. You know, when you have 25 power or more on a row, and then they play down the pig card or whatever. I think the Witch's Apprentice. So, but overall, I still feel like Dunka probably is a bit better. She's got one power more, plus you have the versatility, and there's some units in hand that actually benefit from the hand boost. So I guess in the end that kind of is like, well, and even something like Witch's Sabbath, right? You know, it doesn't, you know, it depends on the matchup too. Like, I guess versus Skellige, the boost on the card is worse, whereas versus like if the Syndicate versus Skellige would be easier to eliminate Dunka, or to, well, you can't lock her. Anyway, Nilfgaard. Let's just type in Vale and see. Yeah, so this is the one for North. Okay, so it's the Urchin and Dunny card. So transform self into Dunny at the end of your turn. Boost the a random allied unit by 1. Okay, so it spreads. Transforms self into Dunny. So then it only gains 2. Yeah, it doesn't have the removal options, but overall, this is like, say you like, this is, you can use the order, you know, better, because if you don't find like good times to use the order, on the other cards, then this, I think this one's better, because when you're playing the other factions, most of the time I find what happens is you'll leave that card down as a 1-point return engine, and usually you'll end up being the one that wins the round and the other opponent will pass, and so you don't end up using the ability. I have used it on occasion, like when I'm playing Dunka, if I do need a removal. But this one, you don't get the removal, but you're actually getting boosts to your cards. You do have to have other units out on the board, though. That's the one thing. The nice thing about the Dunk is, like, as long as you have units in your hand, you're guaranteed to have that boost. And then whenever you play that card down, like, that boost basically takes an immediate effect. So that's pretty nice. But this one, the fact that you can transform, and you only get 2 extra, but you get immunity, and if you were playing like a spying deck, this could actually come down pretty good. Although he's a knight, so you would normally play with knights. Oh. Seems reasonable. So this one, Karak City Guard, this is the one I was talking about. They'll order move an enemy unit to the other row at the end of your turn if the order is not used, boost self by 1. So this is interesting. The provisions have really come, in fact, is this? No, never mind. This is not. That is not the equivalent. This is the equivalent. Egmont. Veil, Zeal order melee damage to enemy unit by 3. I just actually saw this card the other day. I don't remember if I was looking at building a Northern Realms deck or what, but that was the first time I'd ever seen it. Nobody ever plays this. So, damage enemy unit by 3. At the end of your turn, if the order is not used, boost the unit to the right by 1. I guess it's the boost the unit to the right by 1 thing. So I feel like if this card... Maybe I'll fit this in whatever I have when it comes to the provision increase decrease thing. Whatever else I have a slot for, I'll either advocate for a power increase for it or a provision decrease, just because I kind of think it'd be interesting to see if this card could get played, but probably won't. This card, the Traveling Priest, it seems like it's some manipulate decks. Here, let's not click on the premium one because it's too noisy. This card is really good. Like if you build the deck around it and a couple other cards, and you play it as the last card, and you could put like Trident Infantry or an Onager, or I'm trying to remember if there's some other cards that would work, but Trident Infantry or Onager, either one of those would make this card play for a ton of points, because you get 1 charge whenever this unit is moved back to your deck, increase the number of charges by 2. So you get 2 every time you move it back, but you have to like play around, you know, make cards that do that. So I've seen people bring these out, maybe even like 2 of them out, and one of them might have, actually I've seen it both ways. Usually when it's 2 of them out, they're just kind of split a little more evenly, but ultimately you're looking at getting somewhere between like 16 to 20 charges on this thing. And so if you boost like a Trident Infantry up, you're getting 20 points of boost and then 20 points of damage. And then same kind of deal. And if you have a Trident Infantry and an Onager, whoo boy, it gets really ridiculous. So I'm going to try to build that deck at some point. because I've got some absolute board wipes with my Northern Realms control decks recently. I've done it twice within the last week where I've completely, it's been like the last round, I've been behind or about at the same point value, and then like in the last couple of plays of the game, and in fact actually in the last one I did was the best one. I think the opponent was at around 70 points and I was around 60 something, like low to mid 60, and they had one card left in hand, and I think I had one more card left in hand, but it was not a unit. So I was like, okay, now I'm gonna just use the orders and wipe everything. And so I just used all the orders. There was only one Onager unboosted, 4 points, but the opponent did not take care of it. So that Onager legitimately played for like 40 plus points in that game. I had done a couple other things. Never mind, I'm thinking of a different game. This one I was maybe ahead by a little bit, but it was a perfect board wipe. The other one was, actually the other one was also a perfect board wipe, but I was ahead by, but they were ahead of me. But I think they had last say, so they were able to play a unit down at the end, so they did have some points. But the most recent one, the opponent had 0 points on board. They just had one that reset the power of one of my boosted units, and that was it. So the final score I think was like 53-0. It was pretty impressive. But this one, same kind of deal. You get 20 charges on this. Now I would have to see in this deck if there's actually room. I would assume there'd be room for an Onager and Trident infantry, because they're only 6 and 4 points respectively. So, but yeah, the Onager, still it makes sense why the Onager's 6 provisions and the Trident infantry is only 4, because one, you have to actually boost the Trident infantry, so it's going tall with the infantry, and you have to play boosts, so it's kind of conditional. But the Onager, there's a lot of Northern Realms stuff that has orders, so the Onager will trigger on any time you use an order. It'll damage a random enemy unit by 1. Plus then you don't have to you also don't have to be boosting the Onager up a bunch. But to do both of them, every single time I use one of those boosts, it would be 1 point of boost, 2 points of damage. So that's a 60-point swing right there at the end if you get 20 charges. At least a 60-point swing, minimum. So, you get pretty nutty. And if you had 2 Onagers out, well, that's for sure a complete board wipe. Unless you're playing against something like Harmony or something that's got crazy points. Okay, so then yeah, we already talked about Dunka. There's the Dunka one. Has to be non-neutral units though, but normally when I play Scoia'tael, I'm almost exclusively in fact, all the units I think in my Scoia'tael decks have been non-neutral, except for, well, not except for, but if I play a Maddock deck with Precision Strike, then there's going to be some non-neutrals, because Maddock is a neutral. I said that wrong, but you get what I meant. We already talked about that one, we just got it, and Syndicate. Okay, yeah, actually, this is the Syndicate one. He's actually included in the starter deck for Syndicate. It's a pretty good card. So this one just spawns the Flaming Rose. This one actually, wait, it's 6 provisions? Really? Dude, this I think is actually the most powerful of all of them. Why is it 6 provisions? Because here's the thing. There's a lot of the Firesworn ones that deal with these tokens, and you can transform. For instance, you can well, actually it's Flaming Rose Footman. So I was thinking it was the other one that's only worth 2 points. Flaming Rose Zealot? Is that what it is? So these already start as Footmen. So, but that's the order, but it's 3, so it's not damage, I guess, but it's not like other ones that are 3 points of boost. This is 3 plus an armor, If the order is not used, gain 1 coin. Okay, that's probably why, because it's not direct boost. But anyway, still, I mean, this one's pretty easy, I think, to pick when you want to use it, because you're like, okay, I have enough coins. Then you do this, then you spend your coins on like one of your locations to boost all the Firesworn units on the side. And it does have a lot more setup, I guess. So maybe that's why. It does have more setup, but I think the potential payout might actually be higher than any of the other ones. Except for arguably the Dunka, because with the Dunka you could... Well, I guess maybe even with the Urchin and Dunny one too, because if you did play it in a deck where you're like giving like a Nilfgaard statuses deck and like your Emir sticks and you just get a ton of spying on like every single enemy unit, then that might be the most. But the Dunka, the reason why I was saying is because you'd have to probably have a Sheldon Skaggs, I think. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that would actually benefit from being played down when they're boosted, but the Sheldon Skaggs could play for like a really huge removal on like an engine or some card that's a big threat. So technically that one might be the biggest value play, but that's a very, a very specific thing needs to happen in order for that to work. So, all right. Took a look at those cards. Now Balance Council. I'm actually going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to do Balance Council and then wrap it up. So I'm going to repopulate this from what I had. So here's the cards that we're thinking of. Number 1, Philippe, my dude. You need a provision increase. Philippe van Morlheim. Deploy if you control a vampire, gain zeal. You pretty much always, whenever he's played, well, the previous live stream I already played, so I'm not gonna go, but there's the vampire hunter guy. This guy, Van Morlheim Hunter. This is pretty much always the first thing that happens. This guy comes down, lock a unit. Like, anytime I see this come down, especially if the Emir is already down, the very next thing you should be doing is doing anything you can to make sure you can eliminate this guy on the following turn after he comes out. This card will win entire games. It's that strong. Now, granted, if you have the right way to remove it, you can remove it and it doesn't get that much value. But it can at least play, usually it'll play for an a lock, or maybe it gives an enemy doomed, but most of the time they're already going to have a status, or if that unit's locked, if they locked it with the Van Morlheim Hunter, then they might poison it immediately, and even if you kill it, it might have another card, like one of the poisoners, that's able to poison that card the next turn. So then it's like, okay, do I purify, or do I... The thing is, if you Yeah, if you purify, he'd have to give doomed. Yeah, it's tricky, but then it's like, well, then that gives them the opportunity to boost us up out of removal range. So what do? I would say always err on the side of removing it. But yeah, this, if, let me put it this way, if this is placed behind a defender and it takes you more than one turn to remove the defender, and even if it does take you a turn to remove the defender, the damage might already be done. But if it takes you more than one turn to remove the defender, if you can even remove the defender at all, this will win the game. And there's nothing you can do about it. And even if you try to play a defender of your own before, well, guess what? They might have the Vincent Van Morelhem in the deck. Destroy an enemy unit with status. Defender's a status. They use this, destroy your fender, immediately get around it. It gets bad. So this is basically a tall punish. This is basically a Geralt, essentially, but it's the enemy unit. It can be any unit. So I think 10 provisions might be okay. I think 10 provisions is probably okay with this, but keep in mind this one can destroy an enemy unit with a status. This, if played in a long round, could destroy, like, I don't know, like, I mean, played in conjunction with other cards, you could easily get, like, kill like 5 different cards with it, or at the very least shut them down. So if, like, played against an engine deck and you have no response, this will shut down virtually every single engine as soon as it gets played out. If played, you know, if the Amir sticks and this guy's out, any engine you play will get value, if it gets value, for the first turn you play it, and not one bit of value more. So that's why I'd say if I was playing some like engine deck that didn't have any kind of response to this, if it's in the first round and I saw this come out, immediately I would just pass, you know, or possibly try to, if I have really kind of crappy cards, maybe try to bleed something out. But like at that point you have to abandon all, like, this puts you in immediate defensive mode, and you have to, unless you are in a super good position already and you have a response to it, you have to abandon any notion of winning the round. So this guy definitely needs a provision, and I would definitely not, I don't think a power decrease would do anything. But yeah, provision increase. This guy needs to be, I think, bare minimum should probably be 11 provisions. Bare minimum. But I even think if I could like set it to something, I'd probably set it to 12 provisions. I just want this to not be played anymore, because it's Nilfgaard's statuses, there's enough things you can do that are already good as is, but with this card it just makes it completely broken. I mean, I guess it doesn't win, like it doesn't win every time, like there's still counters to it, but like if you don't have a counter to it, you just lose. It is an answer this or lose type of thing. Alright, next up I'm gonna get the Amir actually. So Amir, I am advocating for a power decrease, I think, with Amir, just because I think we could do a provision increase, but I think provision increase is 14. We could put it there, but I'm gonna put a power decrease because I want to make it more prone to removal. Like that one game, we played the Giga Scorpion decoction to kill him, but many of the other alchemy cards, many of the other special cards that would do something similar, they don't play for 6, they play for 5, so it would not be capable of removing this. If we got this down to a 3 power with 2 armor, it would be susceptible to removal. So that's why I'm thinking power decrease on that. Okay, now we'll go with the rest of them. Maddock, and again, he just gives spine to an enemy unit. Like, go back to the Amir here. Play a bronze soldier or aristocrat from your hand, then draw a card. So he plays for a thin. That's pretty crazy already. Whenever your opponent plays a unit, well, it wouldn't be crazy just for it, but it plays for thin. Whenever your opponent plays a unit, give it spying. So it gives all of them spying, which gives good value to a Terra Nova, potentially later on down the line, or some other cards that might interact with it. And it also paves the way for the Van Morlheim to already give it a status, so you can immediately lock any units. And then the order, if it's damaged enough, you can also seize a 1-power enemy unit with spying. And devotion, which you probably always have it, and a turn refreshes the card's order. So usually this order is not really that much of a threat. It can be though in certain situations. So like if Thrive, like Necker gets played out, because this is usually one of the first ones. Neckers, yeah, it would definitely take out that. Trying to think of any other 1-power units. I guess just through basic damaging or bleeding or whatever. Usually the Amir, if left to stay, will probably be able to seize like 1 or 2, maybe 3 units at most. So that's not too crazy. But the thin and spying, give every one of them spying, is just nuts. So needs to be able to be removed easier. And I think that would make a way bigger difference than even a provisioning. Even if you put this at like 16 provisions, people would still find a way to fit it in, and the deck would be almost pretty much just as effective. Considering for that round, all you need is these 2 cards to stick, and you win the round. Like, that's pretty much it. Unless, you know, you're like, I mean, I guess maybe Ogroids could beat it, which is like slamming points. But most decks, I would say like over half the decks in the game would be very susceptible to this. And then the rest of them would, like, it would hurt them, but maybe there'd be a way around it. And then there's like probably like a decent chunk that are just completely shut down by this. Or, I mean, excuse me. Back. I already kind of said. There are a few decks that can actually beat it just fine, and that would be like such as the Ogroids one. Although even the Ogroids one, I'm not too sure, because it's got the poison, and so if they also have a lot of poisons with it too, then it could be bad, because then they can just start eliminating big tall units. So it's very hard to counter this. I mean, you basically have to eliminate the cards or you lose with pretty much any deck. So anyway, alright, Maddock is next up. So I think the thing with Maddock is the archetype. I think Precision Strike in Scoia'tael in particular is where I'm noticing that, well, either that or one of the Nilfgaard ones. So to nerf the archetype, you're gonna have to do a direct hit on Maddock himself, I think. So I'm gonna advocate for a provision increase on Maddock. I think that is our second one right here with the 2 stars. Basically just low interactivity with that one. Lara Doran, okay, I think this is the next one. Now, she's 12 provisions already. Disloyal, damage self by the duration of frost on enemy rows. Death Wish, boost all enemy units by 2. This is especially good played late game. There's probably not a lot of swarm stuff, but when your opponent plays a golden, yeah, when you're, this is the reason why. Like, if it was just this, I would say, okay, this is reasonable. This is very reasonable. In fact, it might even be over provisioned. But it says when your opponent plays a gold wild hunt unit while Laura Dorn is in your graveyard. So keep in mind, I'm playing against a wild hunt opponent. They play this on my side. They already have frost on it. She dies most likely immediately. And then so whenever my opponent, so now it's in my graveyard. So when your opponent plays a golden wild hunt, while Laura Dorn is in your graveyard, they also replay Laura Dorn from your graveyard and give it doomed. So it's not going to be in your graveyard. It's not anything that you can bring back. I mean, if you're playing Skellige, you can use the Sigdriff's Right, and well, it's got to deploy, so it's not really going to matter, but you could try to deny it to him, I guess, with that, but that's a really expensive denial. So yeah, anyway, you can play it twice. So let's assume you do manage to get quite a few units out on the board. Maybe you have like let's even just assume you have like a medium amount of units. Let's just say you have like 7 or 8 units. Let's say 8. Okay, well then boost all enemy units. This is Death Wish on our side. So boost all enemy units by 2. So then they would get, there's 8 units, so that's 16 points. But let's just say it's even only 4, right? Even if it's only 4 units, that's 8 points. And then they get another 8 points later. So that's about where I'm kind of like, okay, 12 for 16. Or if they had like maybe 5 units total, that gets crazy real quick though, because then all of a sudden when you get to 5 units, it's an additional 4 points. That's 20 points for 12. That's about where I cut it off. Any more than that, this card is kind of ridiculous. Now, I don't feel super strongly about this one, but what I think they should do is do a power increase, just because I think it would make the, I mean, if you play this and it doesn't die immediately and the opponent just, like I were to just boost it up, if somebody were to play it on me and I just boost it up afterward, then that kind of, protects me quite a bit, and they play this card for 0 value. In fact, they actually give me value. They give me, however, well, essentially 5 points of value. Or at least however much it's still worth. So, but I don't think that's likely to happen. So what I think this would do going to 6 is it would at least mean that you have to be a little more mindful about making sure you have 6 turns of frost on enemy rows in order for this to trigger immediately. So I'm going to advocate for this to have a power increase. Now, next one, we got another monsters one. Caranthir, Golden Child. So this one, obviously we saw it played today for like only 11 points, which is pretty pathetic. But usually this gets played for somewhere around the ballpark of like 20 to 25 points. Maybe like 18. I would say probably 18 to 25. This is pretty typical. So that's a lot for 8 provisions. And yes, it requires some setup, but for an 8 provision card that just comes down as a point slam at the end of the game, or at least maybe at the end of the round, boost up with a damage dealt by frost in the last 5 enemy turns. This needs to have, it's definitely an Aerodin card. Oh, that's right. Aerodin. There we go. Jeez. Can't type right now. This is the card that you want to play before to set it up. Aerodin, and I haven't played any Wild Frost ones yet. Ugh. I've not played any White Frost decks yet. I might have played one originally when I played Gwent, but since I came back to it, I've not played a Frost deck a single time. That's one of the archetypes I thought I was going to explore this season, but I have not, so I might do it next season. But anyway, spawn Frost in a row for 2 turns, but here at Dominance, increase the damage dealt by Frost by 1. So you want to make sure you have Dominance, 5 turns of Frost. Each time it's going to get hit, so you'll get an extra 5 points from it that way. So like, let's just say you have Frost on the enemy roll. I think it is capped. Let's see. So the amount of damage dealt. I think this is the only thing that modifies it. So basically you have, it could be like 25 points might be the max. Let's do the math. So 5 turns with Frost on the enemy row, both turns. Damage is the highest by 2. And this one, if played and it sticks, 3. So if we get 3 on both rows, that's 6 per turn. 6 times 5 is 30. So actually 30 is the maximum value that Karen 3 could come down for. But that's still pretty huge. And it's probably not that. You could definitely set that up. Like if you save your leader charges and you still have like a Red Riders and you got the Aridin in hand and maybe one other thing to capitalize on it, like that's a huge point slam. So hold up, what's the Aridin? The Aridin is 10. Yeah, I think that's fine. This is the one though. I think for 8. Definitely needs. I think this one needs a provision increase. Let me look at my previous suggestion for it. Well, I don't remember what it was at, but provision increase. Actually, no, I already did these two. So yeah, I would put this one as like the 1-star. The mirror, we already got the mirror. Okay, Angus. Okay, Angus Bree Cree. So here's the thing. When during January season, I was not playing with him, or I was not. I didn't know about the heist cargo thing yet. And so I experienced it in one of my games, and I'm like, whoa, that's a way better way to play Elven Deadeye. At the time, he was 6 points, so he was harder to remove. But then now this season, he's well within easy removal range. And you need to play him a second time. So you play him once. To play him a second time, you'd have to play, then purify. Like, it's just kind of hard to like replay him with cargo that many times. And granted, he does get play for a ton of value, but I think if you play him out and you don't even get a replay with cargo, it feels pretty bad. And I think it lessens the value from cargo as well as the Breakery, obviously. So, because your Elven Deadeyes will be worth 1 more point every time you play them, so you can get up to 7 if you have like the Purifies and everything, and you just keep replaying them with the heist cargos. So that means each time you're coming out with an Elven Deadeye, it's playing for 4 more points than it otherwise would have, and you might spawn like, who knows, like, I mean, he is ultimately going to be playing for like basically 30 points or so throughout the game, maybe even more. Like, it can get pretty crazy. Well, potentially 30 points in a round, actually. But it affects through the whole game. So he might actually play for 40, 50 points if done right. So there is that. So I kind of agree with this in a way. But what I'm noticing is that Elven Deadeye, if you can't get this out, I feel like it's not actually that good. Like, I've been trying to make it work, and it sometimes works, but there's just way more decks that have way more point value. And I think for Elven Deadeye to be competitive, you do need to get a lot of these cards to work and to stick. Otherwise, it's just not that good, and there's not much of a pivot strategy with it. Because it's very... like, everything in Elven Deadeye is pretty much geared towards getting the Deadeyes as powerful as possible, as many of them as possible, and then playing the Vernaciel to do a bunch of damage. I mean, maybe there's another way to play it, but that's the only way that it seems reasonable to play it, and it's not as good as it should be. In lower ranks, it works fine, but anyway, in January, I saw it played quite a few times, and that was like one of the main things I was going up against. Now, it could just be that that's not in the meta, and so in this February season, I have not been going up against it as much and going up against more meta decks. I've been going up against a lot more like Nilfgaard stuff. I've been doing like seeing a ton of the bonded Morntart Thrive decks with the Force of Nature leader ability, for monsters. That one's definitely the one I played against the most, and I've been able to shut it down about half the time. I think it might have beat me a little more than half, but it's kind of, it depends on how strong their Thrive is in the second half of the game. The Morntart's easy to counter when you know it's coming, but the Koshi Thrives and their spawns, and then with the Sir Scratch-a-Lot, it's a lot to deal with. So you really, I think, just have to outpoint the Morntart in a way, because if you try to save like a tall punish for that, unless it's like their final play of the game, you kind of don't have it for the Sir Scratch-a-Lot when it comes out. And I feel like a Heat Wave, if you have one, is best saved for the Sir Scratch-a-Lot. But anyway, to wrap this part up, I just think the Elven Deadeye archetype has been nerfed a little bit with this, and I think I probably only played against it like once this entire season in my games. I still didn't even play it very much, and I played against it far even less. So think about that. I've played about 160 games at this point, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe like 158 or something like that. And I only played up against this the Elven Deadeye archetype, I think, once. Maybe not even at all, but I'm pretty sure I remember towards like early on in the season. This is probably just because that was when I was still around like 14, 13, 12, like those ranks. But definitely like past rank 10, I don't think I played against it a single time. And I would kind of like to see it be more viable, but this since I kind of understand it, I'm not going to advocate super strongly for it, but I think this one should get a power increase. I'm going to put it at the 1 star. Here's the other one. So Harmony as an archetype, the next few things we're going to talk about have to do. I missed the R again, I think. Francesca Finnabar. This card is really nice in a non-interactive, very like heavy special card deck. I know Simless is another card that kind of fits into a similar area, and he's been tweaked a lot. I think his provisions have went up and down a lot over the years, but Francesca Finnabar, I think, is almost as good as Simless. She's got Veil, which is kind of nice, but whenever you play a special card, remove 1 counter 2. This counter 2 is the only thing that really makes her very like okay Like you have a good opportunity, somewhat good opportunity to counter, because her point value is pretty high, so it's pretty protected from easy removal options. And when the counter reaches 0, spawn and play a base copy of the last special card you played. And of course, some of the special cards could be used to boost her back up. So you use like the first one if she gets damaged to boost her. And then you do the second one to be the one that you actually want to copy. So spawn and play a base copy of the last special card you played. If it's neutral, also give it Doom. Because the crazy thing is, you can play a gold special card and copy it twice. So this could essentially act as like playing an Oneromancy, like two Onero. Well, yeah, it literally could even be an Oneromancy. And you spawn and play a base copy of it. So if you spawn and played a base copy of an Oneromancy here, it doesn't. Oh, if it's neutral, also give it Doomed. I don't think, though, if it's an Oneromancy, I don't think 2 Dooms, like, it's not like Poison where it like, makes the card be destroyed. So I think still, if you played an Oneromancy with this, I'm pretty sure the next turn you would get, or the next round, you would get 2 Oneromancies in hand, which is crazy. I'll have to try that, but I think I would advocate for, well, I said either a power decrease or a provision increase for her. So I don't know where I settled, but we already got provision increases done. So let's just say we do a power decrease. So this is kind of in those like Squirtle type decks. I think it's usually in a Call of Harmony deck too, or something similar. But speaking of Call of Harmony, it got buffed a while back, and I don't think it needed to. I just think this archetype, it's already really strong, or at least at the moment. It was really strong before this provision increase for this card, or for this leader ability. So also the leader, the way the provisioning works for here is it doesn't cost that provisions. With the leader abilities, this is how many additional, so you get it, so your deck, you can have 150 provisions to spend by default, and then depending on what leader ability you pick, this 17, this increases, it adds 17 provisions to your deck. So the higher the number here, the weaker supposedly it is, so they give you more provisions to spend. So this one, it went from 16 to 17, which means it got buffed. So this did not need that. And so if you want to nerf an archetype, nerfing the leader ability for it makes the most sense, because it's like, instead of nerfing a particular card where somebody could be like, oh, I'll just substitute it for some other thing, this one nerfs the card in the deck, so they have to, you know, they can't just like play around it, or it's the type of thing where, let's just say there's multiple ways to play a deck, and there's like a few optional cards. Like if you were to nerf one of those cards, somebody would just play, you know, the other thing, whereas this actually nerfs the archetype overall more effectively. So this one, I think, definitely needs a provision decrease for sure. Wait, why is it showing up red? Can't have its power decreased. Oh, that was power, that's why. Provision decrease. And then blood money. is the other one. So I've been playing against these. This one I don't feel as strong about, but I think the bounty decks, at least this season to me, seem to be the most powerful syndicate decks. So the damage I don't like, damage enemy unit. I think it's just the arc again, same thing. This ability I don't think is too crazy, but the archetype of bounty I think is really strong, and so I think it needs a provision decrease as well. That I think is it. It almost seemed like there was one other card that I was thinking about. Oh, technically speaking, I don't want to vote for it because I want to see if it'll still happen. But like, technically Seagull does need a power decrease. And really, Seagull should be here. Like, it's probably the most important because it should not have gotten buffed like that. But that right there is where I would put it if I was going to vote for that. But I actually don't want that to be there, so oh, I gotta put an N here. Okay. So I think that's where it's gonna be at for me. Alright, so I'm gonna look at the screenshot here. I see Gwent, Witcher card game. Alright, because I did basically the same thing last night. I want to see where I put all of them. I took a screenshot, and then we'll go ahead and submit this and then call it. I streamed this for an hour extra than I thought I would. Alright, so oh, never mind. That's not the right one. Here we go. Okay. So I put it as Lara Doran, Angus Brutree, Amir Francesca Single, Philippe Maddock, Karen Thier, Call Harmony Blood Money. Okay, yeah, so I don't really feel that strongly about too many others. I'm trying to think if there's provision decrease. What cards do I think are too expensive, I guess? I would kind of like to see Slave Driver go back down to 5 because I was trying to build a deck the other day and I was like, you know what? Slave Driver would fit in really well if it was at 5, but it's at 6, and I'm like, I can't do it. But that was kind of like as an afterthought type thing, and I was like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't, to make room for it elsewhere, it doesn't really work. So I think Slave Driver is like 6 provisions is actually probably where it should be at, so I do kind of agree with that. Above, or that nerf. something that I think should be cheaper. You know what? The Passiflora scenario. One night at the Passiflora. I do feel like this is another one too that I was almost thinking like maybe this should be in. You should get a power decrease. Maybe that. And place a billion, attribute to. Scoundrel's also really good though. But I think it provision increase if anything, but I feel like it's you just gotta play around. This one's a little more frustrating because like I feel like you have to use, if I have a heat wave, I have to use a heat wave on that or like poison it or something, do something to take care of it. The Passiflora scenario, I'm not sure is. Actually, let's check something. Let's look up scenarios. I want to see what the values are. So, this is the most highest provision scenario in the game, the cultist one. I've only actually played against cultists like maybe 3 times. It's been very rare, but 2 of the times at least it was played against me, it was played quite effectively. Although I think 2 of the 3 times I think I won. So one of the times it was not played effectively, but the first time I think I ever encountered cultists, maybe it was just I didn't know what was going on, but they got insane value, and it was like not the first, I don't think, but one of the first matches that really impressed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this archetype is crazy. So I can kind of understand why that scenario is so expensive. Masquerade Ball, also a very good one. And Nilfgaard statuses, yeah, it makes sense. Endless Voyage, this one I think I agree with. This can get really crazy and out of hand if the opponent can't answer it. Same with this one. Damsel in Distress I don't know as much about. I think Knights is not really the archetype here, but be kind of cool to see Knights get played more, so I would almost advocate for a decrease to that, but I don't know enough about it. I feel like that could be detrimental. Manor Dark Seekers, this is for Thrive. So, I mean, Thrive is pretty strong. I don't know too much about this one. I don't know if I've ever seen it come out, to be honest. So, Search of the Forgotten Treasures, Scenario Curse. I don't think I've ever seen this one. Progress whenever you play a Tyclook spawn. Oh. Good one. I've actually seen it. Okay, so when I was watching one of Cusento's versions of like the Melusine deck, he played, it was sort of one of the middle videos of like all the ones he's done focused on Melusine. There is a deck he went up against with this. He almost threw the game by not killing this. His words as well. But I don't understand what it was, but there was something about what they had where they were gaining 9 coins every single turn. So they always had Horde, infuse the enemy with whenever your opponent gains coins, damage self by 1. So they were always getting 9, and they were doing like 9 damage to units all the time. It was like crazy ridiculous. And had he not been playing that Skellige one, and some of the damage not been soaked up, like basically the Melusine taking damage up to a point, and the Seagull taking damage was actually kind of good for him. But like even with that being the case, it almost was enough to make him lose the game. So whatever it was that they set up was pretty crazy. And I don't remember if they played this scenario, if they just played this from hand, but yeah, this is... Oh yeah, they must have. Okay, so that's what it was. It was scenario. Damage the highest power enemy unit by the number of coins you have. Is there a way of just... No, this doesn't make sense because Horde A at the end of your turn gain enough coins. That's only 1 coin though, right? Because 9's the max. I don't understand, but that might have something to do with how that worked. Anyway, it just seemed pretty broken. Like it was probably the most powerful Skellige archetype I've ever seen, or at least maybe I shouldn't say archetype because I don't know if the archetype itself is that strong, but one of the most powerful Skellige combos I've ever seen. It basically was like looked like the game was. It was like equally as close to broken as the Melusine deck, basically. It's like it was like the Syndicate equivalent of that. So definitely probably worth the 14 provisions. Ragnarok. Or is it Ragnarok? But it's Ragnar. I don't think I've ever seen it spelled exactly like that. Spawn Cataclysm on both enemy rows for 2 turns. Damage. Yeah, not really. Siege, I guess. Siege is whatever. I haven't seen this very much. That's 13. Haunt is really good with V. Without a V deck, though, it's still good. I just feel like the last several times I've played with it, it seems to not perform as well as some of the other scenarios. So I almost feel like maybe it should be at 12, but Feign Death I've never used. Again, this one definitely scales better if you've played the Brie Cree, but if you're doing like the heist thing, I don't know if you have room for scenario unless you like really tweak the deck significantly. So yeah, no, it's alright. One night at the passive floor though. It can be really good, but the thing is, these are like engines. You don't get any immediate value, whereas some of these other ones, you will get immediate value from them. I would almost kind of say that this one maybe should get a provision decrease. But 12 at 12 though, it feels like you're getting a really good value. So I don't know. I feel like it's just it has to be at 13. And other things in the meta probably have to shift for it to like start feeling like it's like stronger again. So yeah, I don't know. I think we just probably submit it like this. I could put this to 2, I guess, but I don't know. I don't really want to undo everything, all the changes. Here we go. We could put Seagull here again. Seagull 3. That would get crazy. Provision decrease. I actually want to check something. Is it possible? Like, I'm not actually going to do this on Seagull, but since we're talking about Seagull. Okay, so you can't go below 4. Can't have its provisions decreased. And it's watch it. It's only Seagull. Like anything else can have its provisions decreased. Yeah, 4 is the lowest. I think Fukusha's only at the 14 because one, it's a play and not just a summon, and also because of the rain. Like if it weren't for that rain, I think Fukusha would only be like a 12. But like the fact that you could potentially, if you read something that's 4 provisions, like 6 rain, that's like 12 extra points. Actually, if it weren't for the rain, she'd probably be like 10. So you're basically probably playing 4 provisions. I don't know, she feels good if you think about it, but you're probably never going to be resurrecting a 4 provision card with it. I don't see why you would. So 12 to get a illumination, basically. Care Trolled sometimes feels like crap because sometimes you'll get a bad bronze unit. I actually feel like most of those create ones are a little bit underwhelming to me. They seem to be super meta, but like I feel like I have never. It's too random for me sometimes. But sometimes you'll get something that's really amazing, and other times I'm like, yeah, I can't really. Like whenever I get something like a bronze unit that only ends up basically playing for like 5 or 6 points, that always feels really bad. And with some of them, they'll be like engine cards, but they're conditional, and I can't even meet the conditions. And if it just gives me too many of them, then, you know, I end up not, I don't know. It might have like, there might be a thing built into the code that says like, oh, it can only, like, one card has to be more of this type of card, one card has to be like, you know, there might be some sort of stipulations built into the code for it, but I don't know. If it's just a random, like if it literally is just 100% random, then actually these are the ones, it actually already shows you which ones. So there's one. So this one's gonna play for 7 max. This one, if played early, could actually be really good if it sticks. This one could trigger other bloodthirsts, you know. Charge. Actually, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm not gonna do anything with that card. Yustiana, though, if you build up the armor correctly, it plays for 6 points, or it plays for 8 points if played in the last round, and then so actually, and then it does that many, like a bunch of points, like 8 points of damage. So it can play for 16 points. So that's. It's pretty good, but you have to build up a lot of armor, otherwise it doesn't work. I would maybe be tempted to advocate for this one to have a provision decrease. You know, there's Geralt that would just destroy something. Actually, is Geralt 9? If Geralt's 9, isn't, I'm pretty sure he is. Okay, this one is 10. Destroy an enemy unit with 9 or more power. Okay, so the Morkvarg one might be willing to advocate for a provision decrease on this because, yeah, it's kind of like a tall punish, but sometimes it just really, it's hard to, could be hard to get really good value with it. And the main thing that's making, because look, by itself, I think it is worth including even at 10. So maybe it doesn't need the provision decrease. And I don't necessarily know if I want to make Skellige more meta, because it's already kind of pretty meta as is. But I don't think I see this card getting much play. And compared to other tall punish options like the Geralt, to get this card to actually play for really significant value, the power is gonna have to be like, put it to you this way, this card can get power for less, but Geralt can destroy a card with 9 or more power. Let's just say it's exactly 9. Okay, so Geralt plays for a minimum of 12 points. So 9, the 9 he's destroying, plus his 3. This one, in order to play for 12 points, you have to have, an enemy has to have not factoring in armor, because armor is not necessarily value, but for some cards it could potentially be. Or depending on the timing of it. But it's, the boost would have to be, it would have to have at least 7 points of boost on it. So even if it's a 4-point card, it would have to be at 11. And then you only like damage it, but then they could like boost it up again. So it can't really, it doesn't take out engines. It just potentially triggers a bloodthirst, and then they can potentially boost it back up. So since it doesn't straight up kill it, and you know, I think about it, since it already has to have 7 points of boost on it in order to get this, like, even get the same minimal value as Geralt, it's like, that's on a 4 provision card. That's if that card's boosted. If it's or 4 power card. If it's a higher power card, they probably are less likely to boost it to avoid tall punish, and so you're not gonna really get value on those. I don't know. I'm a bit tired, so I'm having a hard time collecting all my thoughts on it, but I am trying to think it through it as critically as possible. I'm just not sure with the other than getting the armor on it and like protecting your 5 points and potentially being yeah, I really don't understand. Like, I guess besides being able to proc Bloodthirst for maybe something like an elimination, like a Champion's Charge on another unit potentially, I just don't see how it's ever going to be better than Geralt. Because say even if the unit was at 9 power, you know, with Morkbark, it was a boosted 4, then that only plays for 10 points. Well, actually it has to be damage, so it's actually going to play for, but maybe I did calculate that correctly. Yeah, I said 9, it was boosted by 4, so, or it's 4, so it's boosted by, no, that's not correct. So it would play for 11 points that way. Play. I'm gonna say Morkvark. I could take time to think about other things, but I think that's a pretty reasonable one. I don't think there's too many others that I've felt needed. Although the Demon Smuggler, let's think about this. So it was at 6 provisions, 4 power. So that plays. That's a 6 plays for 10. But if we change it to a 3, if it's a 6 that now plays for 8, that feels pretty bad. But a 5 that plays for 8, well, there's a lot of 4s that play for 8 too. I don't think the Morkvark is likely to be something that other people vote for, though, to be fair, so I feel like it's just kind of a waste of a vote. Whereas this, I think a lot of people will prefer to do something with this since it just got nerfed the last time. I think we're probably going to like buff it on provisions or something. I'll be fine. So I think provision, I'm going to put this in for provision decrease. Although I kind of want to do the power increase because 10 for 6 feels better than a 8 for 5. But what I will say is if Seagull doesn't get reverted, but this does get reverted, that's going to be nuts. You play Demon Smuggler and Seagull in the same game, and it would just get ridiculous. Like Skellige would be super. Skellige Pirates would be super meta at that point. I think we put them in the power increase section, actually. Do I want to put? Good there. these are probably all fine. I wonder if the Siege Master was ever 4 provisions. I think it's still worth it at that. Although I'd maybe try to fit 2 of them in the deck if it was 4, so. We'd see a lot more control if that were the case. There's probably something I found earlier that I'm like, well, I know there's a lot of stuff I've come across and I was like, oh, that's crazy powerful, but not that many things I feel are like cheap, you know. So the Zoltan he plays for yeah, he plays for a lot. I think he's still fine at 13. That's good. Where's the other Zoltan? So Zoltan. So that's like 9 points for 9 and resilience. This one's no armor, but 9 points for 9 within 3 turns. This one distributes it. This one goes taller. Protection. The fact that it does, I don't know. I don't really see him play. Maybe he should get a provision decrease. I had played a game against somebody where they got insane value with Sheldon Skaggs a little while back. I think they had him boosted up to like 18 points or something like that. It was crazy. She's good where she's at. I looked at some of these the other day and I couldn't. 6 for 10. That's potentially a 6 for 14. I kind of want to advocate for a buff to this one, provision wise, but just to make, because it's kind of hard to, I don't know if it would really incentivize playing it more, maybe, but you still gotta draw them together or use like an Oneromancy on it or something, which I don't know if it's worth it. Point return engine on that. What was the dunk This one's usually could be pretty good because it's 10 for 5 a lot of the times. I think maybe we just... Yeah, this is going on way too long. Northern Realms is definitely balanced the best. I don't know. Volvo might be a nice improvement because this one you can play it anywhere. With the Bohol, it has to be that row. You get 2, 2. So in addition to that, so it's literally double the provisions. This has got formation though, so you'll be able to kind of have zeal and stuff. I'd say that counts for at least an extra provision, so like 7. So then 5 years, they're essentially saying like this engine is worth an additional 5 points for it to just be like, spawn soldier boost self by 2. You have to do at least 4 of them, but I think that is, yeah, I think Volhold's probably fine where he's at. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the Morgvar again for a provision decrease. Alright, that's how I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna submit our votes here. I don't know, unless there's any other archetype that I feel like should be nerfed. Maybe actually, hold up. You know what? I think I think we doubled down on the imposter one. Because once again, I think, like I said, I don't think the Morgvarg is going to get that value, so let's just try to nerf those. I don't know if that's the right approach, but that's what we're going with. So they say these are like the weakest ones. I disagree with this one pretty strongly. At 17, 16. Honestly, tactical decision, I feel like probably. Well, it's playing for 7 and could help with some. Draw up to 3 cards. Send your cards back to the top of your deck. Never mind, that's probably good where it is. It might even be able to go to 15. Did I ambush? That's good where it's at. This sometimes could be shit, so I feel like, yeah, 16 is probably okay. Apparently they think these archetypes are the strongest. Yeah, Imposter definitely needs to fill that spot, 100%. Alright. So that, I might have already taken a screenshot, but that's what we're going to do. So, we submit. I'm sure that your votes are in. So, okay, that's, I'm surprised. So that's locked in. This is the votes. But here's the details. So, yeah, you can do the votes. Maximum changes per bracket is 10. Minimum changes per bracket. So there's at least 3 that have to go through. Minimum votes per card required 50. The top votes in each bracket that are above the required threshold of total votes will be implemented. Above the required threshold, yeah. So does the minimum votes per card required supersede any of the other ones? Like the minimum? Because then that wouldn't make sense. Like, what if no card had more than like 20 votes or something like that? Would 3 cards get changed and it would just be whichever ones have the highest, or would no cards get changed? Maximum change per bracket. Well, it always ends up being the maximum. So I think because of this, it makes sense. I think what they're saying is that there's always going to be whatever the highest 3 are will always get changed. But then beyond that, for any other changes to apply, they have to have at least 50 votes per change. And then it goes with the next 7. So, anyway. Alright. Wow. That went way longer than I thought it would. Alright, we're going to close out the stream. It was fun while it lasted. Let's get one more look at the rank score. So, I played... How many matches was that? It's actually quite a few with Skellige. So we had 154 when we started this, and we played 5 matches in the video. So we did 159 matches this season. And 2 of them were basically Seagull meme ones. I might be back for a stream tomorrow. Might stream it on GamerSlice and see if we can actually win with Seagull in the bronze deck. I feel like that's probably one of our best chances at being able to win with a bronze deck. And if I wanted to, I could go into casual and try to get I feel like I might have a better shot at it, but I kind of want to do it in ranked. That would have been nutty. The fact that I actually performed as well as I did in that, and that was closer than some of the matches I was having with the Skellige Melusine deck whenever I would lose, that is just crazy. Maybe it's because, to be fair, that's a very unorthodox way of playing, and the only times I was actually getting stuff shut down was when it was like the Svalbard Priests, or like an Armored Drakkar, or maybe a little bit of a on-crate Longship. Everything else was like not really getting affected, so opponents can't really do much about it because it's not what they're used to. Alright, well, thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you for Diego for showing up earlier. I guess not in this stream, but in the previous one. And now I get about 4.5 hours of sleep. I'm gonna go play racquetball tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. So until next time, thank you and have a great day.